up here at Desawe Kanda this evening. I'm Natalie Ford.
And I'm Issa Morning. Thank you for joining us. We have the headlines for tonight coming up shortly.
It's brought to you by...
Police in Tema launch manhunt for 4 armed robbers who shot a Lebanese dead this morning.
Also, squatters close to the Tema roundabout giving up to March 15 to vacate for reconstruction work or be evicted.
Meanwhile, the Roads and Highways Ministry promises to speed up work on the construction of overhead footbridges after the telecast of TV3's Dangerous Highways documentary.
Also in the headlines tonight, discussions on automation of land documentation begins in Accra.
And ahead in sports this evening, Ghana Premier League postponed for the second time as the GFA is served a court injunction by Accra Great Olympics.
And also in international news tonight, a major gun retailer in US announces stop to the sale of the kind of weapon used in the Florida school attack that killed 17 students. Right, beginning the news tonight, work is yet to start on the Tema roundabout interchange because squatters have refused to relocate. Now, the Minister of Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amwakwata, and some agencies on a tour of the site this morning served a final warning to the occupants of the land to vacate or be evicted.
Traffic at the roundabout is a worry for commuters. Though efforts have been made to free traffic around the area, a lot more, including the construction of an interchange, is expected to open the area up. As far back as January 2018, the Japanese contractor who is supposed to work on the Tema roundabout interchange arrived in Ghana but has still not commenced work. This is because illegal squatters have refused to move. The problem is that there is no relocation plan in place currently, and the Aflao lorry station drivers say evicting them would throw them out of business.
The minister came here and told us that we should remove our shed. That's the GPRTU shed. Then move 5 meters back the shed. But if you are there, somebody will come and add another 5 meters, another 5 meters. That means they are removing us from here. No, I think we are not willing to move from this place. But by all means, they will have the demarcation of the construction. So after the demarcation, we can stay there.
The Road and Highways Minister, Kwesi Amwakwata, who took a tour of the site, was not pleased that the squatters are still occupying the work zone earmarked for the construction. This is the third time officials have visited the site in an attempt to convince squatters to vacate.
If it's possible, it will be done. But don't forget that the onus is on you, okay? Yes. Nobody can promise you any land anywhere. The most important thing is that you are occupying this place and that government needs the place, government needs the land. This land was not legally, allocated to you.
The Municipal Chief Executive Officer Bon Katamanso gave the squatters up to March 15 to move to make way for the contractor.
Yes, all these things should leave because in 2 weeks' time, we have to make sure that all the equipment and the groundbreaking is coming on. But we want to make sure we are giving them the time to move. After 15th, then we will find the quick solution to the problem.
The team demolished some unauthorized structures to serve as a final warning.
In other news tonight, the police in Tema have launched a manhunt for 4 armed robbers who shot dead a Lebanese businessman. The deceased, Ahmed Safian Din, was returning from a bank with 200,000 cedis when some gunmen attacked him at about 10 a.m. this morning.
The 54-year deceased Ahmed Safiaddin is a cashier at a soap manufacturing company, Delta Agro Company Limited in Tema. According to the Tema Regional Police Public Relations Officer, ASP Joseph Benefodakwa, the victim went to withdraw the 200,000 cedis meant to pay workers' salaries. The victim was in a Toyota Corolla saloon when he was suddenly accosted by 4 armed men a few meters from his workplace. The robbers fired several gunshots into his vehicle, robbed him of the money and bolted away in a 4-wheel drive. The victim was rushed to the Raphael Hospital in Tema, but was pronounced dead on arrival. The body has since been conveyed to the 37 Military Hospital for preservation and autopsy.
You're on News 360, and as a result of the upsurge in armed robbery, we're speaking to security analyst Adam Buna on Skype right now. He is joining us, and he's going to... Adam Buna, if you can hear me, good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, and good evening to your cherished viewers.
Thank you, Adam. And you predicted these robberies will continue. What might have caused the increase in robberies in recent times?
Thank you. I think if you look at how these bank branches are opening everywhere, if you look at this mobile money joint, they are opening everywhere. I mean, the next morning you will see mobile money joints opening everywhere. Some under umbrellas. You will see this, what do you call them, forest bureaus springing up every morning. And so these robberies are likely to continue. And the simple reason is that the Bank of Ghana is supposed to have been putting in measures to ensure that before you open this, you are given a permit to open this, a place where you are going to trade in money. You put in more measures to ensure the place cannot be buckled easily. And also, even if you look at what happens today in Tema, the Bank of Ghana, again, I would say, is failing us. How come this, my condolences to the family. He went into the bank to carry 200,000 Ghana cedis cash, probably in a Ghana must go back. And it didn't occur to the bank manager and the tellers over there that they needed to ferry this money, put it in a bullion van, and charge him extra to take the money to where it has to go to. And so you see, the situation, this whole thing is multifaceted. As citizens, we need to be very responsible in a way that we are not caught up in what is currently going on. And until policy measures are put in place to ensure that these activities are regulated, these crimes are going to probably continue. And we have to be responsible as citizens.
Yeah, Adam, I want to find out from you if you think we are fighting the spate of the upsurge of armed robbery enough. I mean, with the involvement of our communities. Have the police done enough to involve communities in getting information on robberies when they do happen?
Well, I would say a yes and a no. They have been successful in apprehending some of the suspected armed robbers. If you look at this Forest Bureau and mobile money joint robberies, they have succeeded in arresting about 7 to 9 recently. But the truth is that we need intel, a lot of intelligence on the ground. That is what we are lacking. And so I would be hoping that the national security, the BNI, where are they? We have BNI offices all over the country. We expect them to put a lot of intel on the ground. This is a mob we are fighting. It's an organized crime. And so my expectations are that we need to infiltrate them, to be able to get information and hit them before they strike. Once we don't have that, it doesn't matter how many guns we put on the street. It will be difficult to fight them if we don't have the intel to be able to, hit them before they strike. That is what we are lacking.
So Adam, yeah, it is good. I mean, with what happened in Kwabenya and even yesterday at the Royal Motors, yes, the police have gone far. They have come out with some quite impressive reports that they have already been able to arrest some of the people. But do you think that the sophistication with which armed robbery is conducted nowadays, the police are apt to that level? Do you think so?
Well, I would say the police is lacking in resources, and it didn't start today. The police we have today has been there for how many years? I mean, as they've been there long enough. I mean, as old as I am, and so I would say that we need to train them. If you look at the statistics when it comes to investigators, we have less than 20% investigators, and so and the CID, these are people who are supposed to be trained in gathering information here and there and probably doing some of these things. And so I would say they are doing what they can do with the limited resources. But if you have listened to the Minister of the Interior, I am aware that we have about 3 helicopters that have been procured that are, going to be on its way into the country. There has been some ammunitions and other things being procured for the motorbikes and the rest. So we need to also train the human resource, because if the government throws everything at them and the human resource is not trained, it will still amount to nothing. And so we need to continuously, educate the public. They need to educate us. Those of us who are knowledgeable in this field, need to work with them. Ensure that if they are doing well, we praise them. If they are not doing well, we let them know, listen, you are not doing well. And so I would say that we should go about our duties calmly. We haven't gotten to that stage yet where one will say the situation is useless. We have about 800 million, if, as the president said, we hope all this 800 million is going to be put into policing as soon as possible, so that in the next 6 months, let's see the crime rate, whether it's going to go up or it's going to go down.
Right, we're grateful to you, Adam Buna, security analyst, for sharing your opinion on it. Thank you for speaking to us, Adam. Now let's do some more stories. And Interior Minister Ambrose Derry has mounted a spirited defense against criticisms following the recent spate of armed robberies across the country. The operations of the security agencies have come under scrutiny following the increase in the number of daylight robberies in the past 2 months alone.
Well, yes, it's regrettable, but if we put it in context, over the Christmas, we had a very successful deployment. And then the last 10 days, there appears to be an upsurge of a different kind of armed robbery. Not because it's not armed robbery, but its targets are different. What we had in the beginning, when we set up, was armed robbery, highways and domestic homes and what have you. Now we've seen in the last 10 days, there's been an upsurge of, money joints. And then yesterday, there was that daytime activity. So clearly, we lost control at all. What we're doing is making sure that we follow the leads. The police are following the leads. You realize that with the other robberies, we've got 7 suspects. And yesterday's one, we've got 2 that we are working on, to put things in context. You see, some people were wondering why we're not confronted yesterday in traffic. You want to have a successful operation without loss of innocent lives. Moving forward,
well, let's turn to the transport sector now, as the Roads and Highways Minister says he will see to the construction of overhead footbridges across the George Walker Bush N1 highway in Accra. After watching TV3's Dangerous Highway documentary, Kwesi Amwakwata expresses determination to make the roads safer.
Close to 300 lives have been lost on the George Walker Bush Highway 6 years after its inauguration. The road safety documentary put together by TV3's Portia Gabo was premiered on TV3 on February 15, 2018 and has received a lot of commendation. The latest to endorse TV3's efforts is the Roads and Highways Minister, Kwesi Amwakwata.
I never miss that documentary, anytime it comes on our screens, because it's very educative to me, and the privileged position that I occupy. Okay, I make conscious efforts to watch, because it gives me, general view of the state of our roads in our nation. It tells us that we should work harder, okay, and faster. So I congratulate you for bringing this up.
The minister has also promised government will fix the remaining overhead footbridges to save the loss of lives on the stretch.
It's is on our priority list, but we have to find the funding. The funding is important, and I can tell you that it will be done. So we know the areas that we have to establish or build footbridges, and with time, little time, it will be done.
We'll wait to see when the minister will make do his promise.
You're on News 360, and on MTN video report this evening, Selinam Jamashi reports from the Jasikan district in the Volta region on a collapsed school structure, and he is calling on individuals and organizations to help fix the structure for them.
This is Kichi Kwanta DAGHS, one of the schools in the Jasikan district of the Volta region. The structure has collapsed because of the heavy downpour and the windstorm which occurred. We, the parents, are therefore pleading to the government and individuals to come to our aid and put up another structure for us so that the teachers can come back to the classroom and teach.
Right, News 360 is live on TV3. We'll be back in a moment.
You're still watching News 360. Thanks for staying with us. Time for business. My name is Nanikia Mensah Brampa. Now, the Lands Commission says 70% of houses in Ghana have no titles. Out of this, more than 10% of documents covering these houses cannot be traced. The Vice President, who was sad at the situation, immediately directed the Lands Commission to automate its systems to ensure the right thing is done.
Land acquisition is a thorny issue. Several people have been robbed of their hard-earned property following inappropriate documentation. Documents at the Lands Commission are manually done and takes months to be retrieved. The Vice President's first visit to the Commission was to acquaint himself with operations. During his visit, he identified that most of the operations are manually done, wasting turnaround time. Again, he was confronted with the fact that clients will have to take 3 months to acquire land documents. He pledged his commitment to automating operations at the Lands Commission. Barely 3 weeks after his visit, the Lands Commission has organized a forum to discuss the automation process. The automation process, when completed, is expected to reduce the turnaround time. Vice President Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia was confident that automation will expand the work of the Commission.
We must reduce the transaction costs for individuals and businesses in every aspect of their daily lives and doing their businesses. The government therefore fully supports efforts already underway in digitizing land administration processes. This will increase information accessibility and coordination between all stakeholders.
A major worry to key stakeholders in the land administration project is that 70% of houses in Ghana have no titles. Again, a World Bank report indicated that 35,000 cases of land disputes end up in the courts due to the lack of clear-cut land administration policy. The Vice President called for swift resolution of those cases and said the lands could be used for mortgage purposes.
Every modern economy, the land market is the central. It's the central market. The mortgage market is so key to financing businesses and so on. And for countries such as ours, which don't have land as part of the conversation in terms of the contribution to the development of the country, we have a major problem. And this is why we have to tackle this very earnestly.
Recommendations from the workshop are expected to streamline operations at the Lands Commission.
And some good news, prices of petroleum products are expected to drop between 1 to 3% in the first pricing window of March. Principal Research Analyst at the Institute of Energy Security, Richmond Roxon, says the continued stability of the cedi and drop in oil prices on the world market should see reduced figures at the pumps. IES said the forecast is on the basis of the stability of the local currency, the over 6% reduction in the price of gasoline, the 4.63% drop of gas oil price, and the average 3.33% reduction in Brent crude price.
When you look at the indicators, you realize that crude oil prices have dropped on international market. It's moved from $67 per barrel to $65 per barrel. That's an average decrease of about 3.3%. Our cedi was relatively stable within the period. It's still trading around 4 cedis, 51 pesos to $1. Our inventory level hasn't been so good, but in the next 2 weeks, definitely consumers shouldn't expect any shortage on the market. Putting this together, we're expecting that on average, prices will go down between 1 to 3% on the local market.
This is the second consecutive dip in prices at the pumps, a major relief for petroleum consumers, considering the several price hikes experienced in the last few months. Richmond Roxon, however, insists calls on government to scrap the special petroleum tax still persist, as this could lift extra burden on consumers.
There was a reason why it was introduced, and it has outlived its purpose. As we speak, we are doing so well when it comes to upstream. We are making money. The government's own benchmark was $57 per barrel. As of now, the average price is around $66 per barrel. So we've even exceeded it. So we are looking at a total scrap. There was a purpose for it. The purpose is no longer relevant as we speak.
Price reductions are expected to take effect at the pumps on Thursday, March 1. On to banking now, and the Universal Merchant Bank has introduced the UMB Speed Up to give customers convenience and speed banking. The app gives customers the luxury to access banking services and products on the internet, which hitherto would have been done in the banking hall.
The UMB Speed Up gives customers access to transfer funds, top up airtime, withdraw cash at the automated teller machine without an ATM card, and other banking services. The mobile app can be used by non-UMB customers to also have a feel of the customer experience at UMB. It provides an easy interface where users can self-register using their basic identification details, including name, date of birth, and their email address. The Chief Executive Officer of UMB, John Ewa, said the app gives convenience and reduces turnaround time spent at banking halls. He also assured customers of the safety of their funds while using the UMB Speed Up.
We invited PwC to assist us, also do a walkthrough to the system and undertake what we call penetration test and vulnerability assessment. All those tests have been done. The few things that came up, we've had fixes. And I can tell you and assure you that so long as you can keep your password to your phone secure, then the mobile app is extremely secure.
John Ewa encouraged non-UMB customers to take advantage of the UMB Speed Up and join the UMB banking experience.
The world is moving on from us becoming bankers to customers becoming bankers themselves. So the number one, should I say, rationale or the pushing point, the thing that pushed us to where we are now, is the convenience that we want our customers to experience from their dealings with UMB.
The app is available on the Google Play Store, App Store, and other platforms.
And away from banking, the Eastern Regional Office of the Electricity Company says it will prosecute individuals and institutions which fail to pay bills. The Regional Commercial Manager, Emmanuel Sam, says non-payment drains the company's revenue.
The Eastern Regional Management of the Electricity Company has embarked on an exercise to commend the institutions that have been consistent in paying bills. But the commercial manager, Emmanuel Ba, says some more institutions owe them, affecting their operations in the long run. He also raised concerns about illegal connections and underground dealings.
Some have been disconnected. Others are on payment terms. We have entered into payment terms with them and they are paying gradually. But those who have defaulted, we have initiated court actions against them to retrieve the money back to our coffers.
The Eastern Regional Manager of the Electricity Company, Engineer Michael Ba, promised working towards providing reliable supply of electricity to institutions for them to sustain their businesses.
We are committed to giving the customers the needed supply. It is expected that they would also do their parts of the bargain by paying their bills and paying it promptly. The issue has to do with timely payment of bills. So anybody who defers payment or who delays payment is giving us a huge challenge.
Right, so there's more news on our website. It's 3news.com. My name is Nanikia Mensah Brampa. Isa is standing by with more.
Now let's do some more stories tonight. And Minority Chief Whip and Member of Parliament for Aswanse Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak says he will resist the LI on the legal profession when it is laid on the floor of Parliament. The Aswanse Member of Parliament had earlier embarked on attempts to get signatures of some MPs to oppose the passage of the LI. He spoke to TV3.
Report of the Committee on Subsidiary Legislation on the Legal Profession Regulations could not be laid on Wednesday, even though advertised on the order paper. Chairman of the committee, Mahama Yariga, was not available in the chamber at the time the Speaker called for the item to be laid. When the LI is laid, it will take 21 sitting days for it to mature and become law. Already, law students have complained about the LI, which will compel them to write an entrance exams before being admitted into the law school. A meeting with the subsidiary committee Tuesday revealed the cancellation of interview before admission, but the entrance exam still remains. But this Minority Chief Whip says it is unfair.
They are driving the LI from Act 32. But Act 32, for me, is obsolete. Now they came with 3 excuses. 1, we are removing the interview. 2, we have gotten cabinet approval to be able to amend the act. So give us the LI and then later we'll bring the act. But you have been reporting in this house. That is putting the cart before the horse. Because what we do is that the LI is supposed to drive its strength from the act. So if you are bringing the act for amendment, then do the act first. Then when we have amended the act, because when you bring it, it will require for thorough review, for us to look at it and then shape how we really want legal education in this country to be.
He says as it stands now, it has become difficult to get 2/3 of MPs to enable them throughout the LI.
It's difficult, I must admit. That was why we were doing the sentiment. I mean, people say, they are using different rules. I mean, no. What we're doing was to try to sensitize, because things come to this house. Many members are not interested. They don't even know what it's about. What we're doing was sensitizing each other, sensitizing our colleagues, getting them to understand the implications, getting them to understand the concern, so that they will sign on, that when the thing comes on the floor, they will be there to support it to be thrown out.
The Asawasi MP, however, says he will kick against the LI when it comes to the floor.
We were having overwhelming support in trying to reject this. Now they are doing this, calling individual members and doing all those things so that they can sway many of them. I want to talk to my colleagues that, look, we have a responsibility to our constituents. Our constituencies must come first. Their concerns are genuine. Their concerns are sincere. We need to listen to them.
Meanwhile, the absence of the finance minister and his deputies, as well as the attorney general in the House, forced sitting to be suspended for 1 hour. Either the finance minister or any of his deputies, as well as the attorney general, has to be present in Parliament to enable members consider the taxation use of fiscal electronic device bill. After over an hour, one of the deputies, Kweku Kwating, showed up for the bill to be taken.
You're still live here on News 360. We've got sports news for you in a few moments' time. Stay with us.
Up next is some international news.
Some 3,000 students have returned to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School for the first time since a gunman claimed 17 lives on Valentine's Day. A major gun retailer has announced it will stop selling the kind of weapon used in the attack. Dick's Sporting Goods, which has more than 600 shops, said it would no longer sell assault-style rifles and backed common-sense gun reform. The move came as pupils and teachers made an emotional return to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Grief counselors were on hand. In the aftermath of the 14th February shooting, pressure has mounted on U.S. politicians to act on gun control and for corporations to cut ties with the powerful National Rifle Association. About 700 churches have been closed down in Rwanda for failing to comply with building regulations and for noise pollution. Most of them are small Pentecostal churches. One mosque was also closed. A government official said some of the more than 700 buildings shut down have already reopened after they were approved by inspectors. According to a proposed new law, all preachers must have the theological training before opening a church. Church leaders have at times been criticized for using loud public address systems to attract worshippers.
We'll be back with some more stories. Stay with us.
Welcome back to News 360. Now, TV3's Mission Ghana has launched a social media survey to elicit views from cherished viewers and make your #1 segment on News 360 more refreshing and informative. Viewers are kindly requested to visit our social media handles on Facebook, TV3 Ghana, and on Twitter, News on TV3, to be a part of this survey. Mission Ghana is supported by Star Ghana with funding from UK Aid, DANIDA, and the European Union. So certainly visit our social media pages for more on that and get interactive with us on Mission. But in some more news this evening, an Accra High Court has set March 20 to hear a writ for judicial review, the case in which the chief of Srogbe, Togbe Patiama IV, and 6 others have sued the Attorney General, Chairman of the Commission of Inquiry for the creation of new regions, and the Minister for the Regional Reorganization over uneven distribution of the venue for the public hearings. The court adjourned after state attorneys failed to file the statement of case, which filing the affidavit in opposition. And in entertainment news this evening, the father of the late singer Ebony Rains, Nana Opoku Kwarteng, has disclosed to TV3 his intent to sue the hospital, the mortuary attendant at the center of his daughter's viral naked video. Now, a video recording of a morgue attendant touching the corpse of Ebony and her friend, Franklina Kuri, went viral on Monday evening, attracting public outrage. In the video, a man is seen fondling with the late singer's body and stomach piercings. The development has been widely condemned, with some calling for the arrest of the mortuary attendants and all those involved in recording and spreading the video. The recording is believed to have taken place at the first morgue in the Bono Ahafo region, where the bodies were first kept.
Now, the family of the late dancehall songstress Ebony Rains has settled on the Independence Square as the venue for her funeral rites. The grieving family withheld the venue for the singer's funeral, hoping to settle on a more spacious venue to accommodate the multitudes expected to attend the funeral. Initially, industry players suggested the Trade Fair Center in Accra, the forecourt of the State House, and the Independence Square as would-be appropriate spaces for the March 17th funeral. But we gather attempts to secure the forecourt of the State House for the much-anticipated funeral failed, as the space has been booked to be used on March 17, 2018. Speaking on Midday News on TV3, the late Ebony's father, Nana Opoku Kwarteng, confirmed the Independence Square as the grounds for the funeral. All right, let's do some more stories on the new 360 tonight. And, well, we can't get that story at the moment. I'm sure we'll soon find it. Well, the story is about an actor. We don't get it at the moment, but let me summarize it this way. It's about an actor who has turned into a singer. And I'm sure when we show you the video, you will really appreciate it much.
Fine.
Please, how much?
30 pesos and 40 pesos.
Give me 3.
So how many do you want?
They're 40 pesos.
Italian-born Gianluca Romeo, also known as Kwame Yeboah, is not a new face on the Ghanaian entertainment scene. Romeo first arrived in Ghana back in 2008 and quickly acclimatized to the system, grabbing a few Twi words in no time.
As they say here,
His unusual command of the Twi language made him more popular, earning him movie roles. The promising talent has featured in many Kumawood movies and other notable projects, but Kwame Yeboah has now found a new passion.
My favorite type of music is R&B. Let's say that is the base for most of the music I do, but I do all types of music. I have dancehall, I have hip-hop. This is what versatility should be about. I just don't want to do what other people are doing.
His debut album, Domesa, a love song featuring acclaimed rapper Yapono.
I'm praising somebody personally, saying that the Obidia Yemono own Yemisa. So it is also a public message that if you get disappointed by someone, that doesn't mean that people are going to disappoint you all the time.
Call him the RKY, the love doctor. Kwame Yeboah's lyrics are luring enough to melt hearts. But has he given up on his acting career?
I'm not really switching. Like, if I would switch, that means I'm forgetting acting entirely, and I'm not.
The actor-turned-singer said he is here to stay, touting his versatility as a unique trump card. His record label, the Big Family Production, has lined up a few collaborations to ultimately endear him to music lovers.
We're planning to keep on bringing good music for the listeners to love us and keep loving us. So with my music, I want to shake those who will listen, but I want to shake their hearts more than their feet.
I'm really
very excited to
unbelievable talent. I think we should
totally
look out for him. I haven't seen any of his movies yet.
I haven't. He's really immersed himself into the Ghanaian culture very beautifully.
I like his confidence as well. Thank you for watching News 360 tonight. My name is Hisamoni.
And I'm Natalie Force. Visit our website, 3news.com, for some more news. And news at 10 will simulcast on our sister station. That's 3FM 92.7. Thanks so much for watching. Have an excellent evening.